just like organic food that they market to us, healthy, clean, fed right. It's like, well, what are we eating outside of that? The same thing with probation, right? If we have to try to remarket, reintroduce to people, to treat people, clients, the folks that work with us with this kind care, create this kinship, then what have we been doing before?
My name is Fred Dabbs. I'm currently a Deputy Probation Officer with Alameda County Community Probation. Right now I've been with the department for about 5 months and serving in community probation, of course, as a field deputy. So my function right now is to observe the City of New York's neon network. What I want to do is kind of find out how they got started, how the program has been maintaining since they've implemented the different neons in various communities in New York, and just kind of get a feel of just the overall effectiveness of their program so we could possibly bring it to Alameda County. Thank you. How you doing?
How you guys doing? So this is East Harlem. In this area, there's a lot of methadone clinics, drug treatment. So that's how come, like if you notice.
Determination, courage, humility, motivation, inspiration, success. This is awesome.
We have 2 probation officers that are here. And they just blend in with the staff. So when we built out the neons, each one of the neons came attached with a specific program. One of my favorites and one of the most successful is Arches. And it's because it was developed with the community. We invited them in as we were writing the RFP. We brought the community in to help build what the program should look like. So the mentors are available 24 hours a day, which I think is why the program has been so successful.
These are the same kids I walk by every day in this community. So I can't have a detached perspective in the outcomes of their lives because that makes it safe for my mother, my sister, my cousins, etc. And plus, I actually love these kids because I see myself in them. So the approach that we take here is really a community-based and a family-based perspective. So what I'm saying is I don't know if this could be recreated somewhere else because you have to actually care. You gotta feel like you have some type of interest in what's happening in these kids' lives. That's the only way that something like this is going to be successful.
Thank you. Wow.
When it's just not geography, it's also being part of the community. So we really wanted to do this move into the neon, paying attention to the community, paying attention into how they felt about us, going through a whole educational series of what probation is about. They just think that we're all about law enforcement and nothing else. So it took a little while for us to go through that process of educating the community. And it also took us a little while to identify who should we be talking to. It just made sense for us to get closer to the population that's on probation.
Today we really learned about how the neon concept or the neon model got started, its impact on the 7 communities that it's now operating in. I think one of the best themes that I learned today is transformative mentoring, and that's a term that we've heard a lot today. So when I go back home to California and we start talking about this whole NEON model, I'll be able to have a greater perception of what that really means and how it can be implemented into Alameda County. We have a similar model. It's a similar model to the NEON. The only thing is we're not stationed in the community.
Issa Ewan-Kraus, and I am the Assistant Chief Probation Officer for Alameda County Probation Department. In the capacity of the Assistant Chief, I'm really learning a lot more about how important it is to have the key stakeholders engaged and involved in the process, and how important it is to get community buy-in on the front end. The concept of the community stakeholder groups is really intriguing. I think we do a lot of work with our CBOs, our community-based organizations, but having them more involved in the planning process on the front end, I think is really beneficial.
Or that nothing can be accomplished from the things I wish to be. Tell me that I'm not fanatic for the things I feel inside, for they're but flowers of oppression born of a pain I cannot hide. Don't look upon my actions as the acts of one insane when I take up modern weapons to defend my father's name. Just let your eyes scan through the ghettos and through the books of history. Then you'll understand this feeling and just how it came to be. Sure, I must admit I'm bitter for the precious blood I've bled, and for the many years of oppression you bestowed upon my head, for the rape of my grandmother and the mulattoes that you left, and the many years of slavery with its legacy of death. Oh, don't tell me I'm a dreamer. Oh no, it's you who cannot see, for I'm just another victim of a very cruel reality. Thank you so much.
I started at the Center for NuLeadership 15 years ago, fresh out of prison. I want to touch a little bit about the NEONs. So I've been doing this work for 15 years. We started out very gun-ho, beret to the side, no more prisons, shut them down, and that is still in me too. I'm not going to say that's not, because it is, right? I remember the first campaign we ran was the No More Youth Jails campaign, when we was up against DJ J. I was crushing them in city council meetings, shutting them down, holding them accountable, making sure they stayed there to 6 o'clock at night to hear our voices. And we got $64.6 million pulled out of that budget. That's right around the time you guys are from, you know, Cali, Alameda County, where it was like Books Down Bars campaign, right? I remember running that video so long that I can almost repeat it verbatim, everybody who's in that video and everything they said, because that was a part of our workshop. So we won that, and we continue to do this work, and here we are 15 years later actually working with the Department of Probation. We didn't know incarceration can have a level of humanity that it did. And while we don't want them to be accustomed to incarceration, what we do want them to be accustomed to is for people to respect their humanity and see that within them. So that's kind of the work we're doing. I'm going to sum it up, keep it moving, and thank you.
That's really important. I just wrote out here in terms of the NEON model. It's not just about philosophy approach. The place matters, where and with whom, and also there needs to be a structure. Right? You can't just say, oh, it's a NEON model, and then just like everyone and every welcome. But there's also got to be some kind of structure, as in that's value, like that's value infused, and that's all the stuff that needs to be figured out collaboratively as an agency, and then also with community stakeholders.
You're role playing.
Okay, so Ms. Burke, how are you?
I'm fine, Chief. How are you?
I'm eager to hear about your trip and give me some feedback on Give me something to chew on.
As far as the neon goes, Chief, I think that we really need some clarity as a department, because I think we walked into it thinking that, okay, it's just a site, it's just a program, but for New York probation, it's a actual approach, it's a change in thinking, it's a change in culture. And I don't really think at this time we're ready for that right now. So we need to decide on how we want to do it. Do we just want to have a neon site, or do we really want to overhaul our department and change it culturally? I don't think that's going to happen. We can't decide on a dress code. Okay, so I don't think we can decide on a neon culture change in 6 months. I'm not saying it's not possible. I just don't think it's going to happen in 6 months.
On that note, give them a round of applause.
This is the proactive team. You know, Chief, we believe in this model, and we have highly engaged staff already that are committed to making changes. We know that though we have deficiencies that we have to work in, but we are putting things in place. We're starting IVIS, we're starting things that are helping people rethink. We're thinking about Target, we're thinking about trauma-informed care and the things that we need to do to change the mindset of our staff. Just like she said, we realize it's going to be a culture change, but we need to start making some steps towards this change. And if we get enough dedicated staff on this plan, which I feel like we have, just being on this trip and having the staff here and seeing that difference, we can help infect the rest of the department with the spirit they need to make these changes. We have multiple initiatives that'll help us move in this direction, and this is the right way to go. So even though it might be hard, that doesn't mean this should stop us.
He gave us a-
Why is it already done?
Well, I was just curious to see what the time frame was.
So let me just say that all the things that you guys are up against, we were up against too. We're not going to simplify it, because we definitely had our partnerships that were grounded in probation and felt that we belonged to them, right? But I have to say this. I was made assistant commissioner right about the time that neons were introduced. The whole entire neon values was introduced to the agency. So Brooklyn is the second biggest probation department behind Alameda County in this country. I'm in charge of that. Neon is just one part. If you just think about neons, that's one part of what we do. Right. But I had to think about a way how because it wasn't good enough to me. It made no sense if I just felt that I was going to send some POs out into the communities and there'll be a neon. So I had to think of a way to infuse neons into everything that we did from the very beginning. Actually, it's easier to do it that way, right? It's just an easier concept, and it made more sense to staff. The first thing you have to have is the commitment. Did I know how to do it? I'm looking at all these clients I'm responsible for, all this staff. And in Brooklyn, my staff has been there forever. They are the most resistant. Brooklyn will bring it. They're not afraid of people, politicians, judges. They're not afraid of anyone. They're not afraid of me. I had to appeal to my staff to get that shift. You have to be honest and transparent, and you can't give up because it's big. It is big. It's a big undertaking. But if you believe in it, just even a little bit, right? If you believe that it can really change the way we deal with our clients and our communities and us, because you will benefit from it. When I tell my staff, when everyone's good, we're all good. You can't leave some folks behind and think you're good. So you're going to have to think of a way that it's going to be part of the way you do business overall. If you keep looking at it as a project, it does seem, how am I going to get this done? Neon is not, it's a values for us.
Right, it's not
It's the
a
way we
project.
touch, when soon as we open our doors, when you walk into our place, we had to change that. If you come and see our where we are now, you wouldn't believe it's a probation department. It's the way we interact, it's the way we treat people respectfully, it's the way we answer phones, it's the way we value each other, it's the way we do our reports, the way we push back on police, judges, the way we have our people stand up for themselves. So you gotta be ready for that. Otherwise, and if you're not ready, it's not a project. I'm telling you right now.
So under the rehabilitation umbrella, we have a gazillion objectives, and they're all disjointed, right? And in our mission statement, the last piece says effective partnerships. And we're doing it, it's just not aligned. So maybe the work for us is to figure out how do we take what we're already doing and align it with this NEON mindset, which means also including the community and true stakeholders, and look at, yes, we tried it before, but perhaps we didn't know the proper rules of engagement for those communities, and we didn't involve the right folks.